How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today so it's been a little while, and it's good to be back. Took a little break, but I hope you guys didn't mind that too much. If you're new to the channel, then I hope you guys like it, and you can subscribe and hit that notification button and do whatever it is you need to do if you like what you see. But if you're not new to my channel, then this is what you guys have been waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks. My hair is finally cut. Do you guys like it? You like it? Shout out to Signature Barber in New Jersey. Does a good job. I think it does a good job. All right, but seriously, this is what I've been working on for the past few weeks. Now, I did take a little bit of a break. I went to go see family, and I told you guys that I was just a little bit burnt out. To be honest, I'm just kind of getting a little bit burnt out on the car. But now that I'm back, I want to show you guys exactly what I did to make this car, well, almost in running condition. We're going to try to get it running today. So before I get to this, I want to answer a question that you guys have been asking me for a long time. And it's actually a question that I've answered a few times before, but it bears repeating because it's such a good resource. I've been using it for a long, long time. And they're also the sponsor of this video. I do have this car. I have the Supra. I have a bunch of other cars that are the cheapest in the USA, or perhaps cheapest in the world. Definitely cheapest in this region, but you guys have been asking me where I get these cars so cheaply. Well, I use a site called Autotempest.com, and if you're like me, this is basically like cheating if you want to find a good deal on a good car. What it does is it combines every major automotive classified site into one super easy nationwide search. You can browse through eBay, Cars.com, Car Gurus, and compare with all of Craigslist to make sure that if you say you bought the country's cheapest anything, you can actually prove it. So if you're window shopping, looking for your next project or your next daily driver, Autotempest is the perfect place to go find your ideal car. You can check it out in the link below. They've been sponsors of my videos for a long time, and I've used them for years. I've used them for Actually, I use them a lot more than I think I should. I have too many cars. So here is the glorious rear end of the Lamborghini Gallardo Spider, and this is all taken apart, obviously. I don't have the back covers on or nothing. This is not how the car is going to be driven around, but this is how we're going to start it. So this is a turbo kit that is completely fabbed up from scratch. And big thanks to Tony, my welding Jedi. We actually stayed up till 2 in the morning last night getting everything worked on, and the piece that we were working on isn't even in the picture. I will include that, but I wanted to show everything before I put the final piece on. So this I call the baller pipe because it's just so baller. It is a 3-inch stainless steel tube. It goes on for both turbos. It connects in the middle right here, and it has very good flow. Now, how you know that something has very good flow is if you put compressed air in one side, instead of it blowing out this side, it actually sucks air from this side, and that increases power. Another thing that we did that is basically, well, it's fixing the car because the previous owners or the shop that had it or whatever, something in this car's history had a janky install with the previous iteration of the turbo kit. Now, these downpipes were completely custom made, but when I got the car, the O2 sensors, the oxygen sensors, I'm pointing in real life, but it doesn't correlate to the camera, it's right here. The O2 sensors were in their stock locations, and that means that if this car had a turbocharger system on it, that means that the O2 sensors were subject to a lot of pressure. And those of you who know what O2 sensors do, they basically measure flow and air and fuel that go out of the exhaust stream. They basically tell you if your catalytic converters are working. They basically tell you how rich or how lean your engine is running. This car had the O2 sensors in the wrong spot. And that is a big no-no, especially on forced induction, especially on a car that makes a lot of power. So we had to relocate the O2 sensors to right here. This O2 sensor is in the perfect path now. It's right after the turbo, and O2 sensors, you usually want to have them 16 to 24 inches after the turbo outlet. Now, this is a really short pipe, relatively speaking. So this is around 18 inches after the pipe. And even though a lot of O2 sensors are placed further back, if you have a lot of heat, is going to be a lot of heat here. I think this would be okay just because it's going to be really close to the outlet. And I'm not worried about any water coming in because if it rains or something, water might collect in here. It is tilted upwards to mitigate that. And also I'm not worried about the ambient air because this will be very high flowing and there's going to be plenty of exhaust not to screw up the reading. But this is a very elegant solution. What I love is the fact that these did not need to be lengthened. Usually you'd have to lengthen the wires just to get them to the back of the car, but these had enough slack on them that there's actually enough room that you can mount them right here. I guess Lamborghini was thinking ahead when they made these cars. They thought, hey, maybe somebody wants to twin turbo these and put the O2 sensors in the right place. Another thing I did was clean up the back of the engine bay. When I first got this car, this thing looked like a rat's nest. Now this, all the coolant and oil lines and all the connectors and wiring and all that stuff, that is a little bit messy, but I will clean that up later on. This is not the final iteration of this car. I want to do not a wire tuck, but something that will spruce up the look of this. I am going to wrap all the wires and coolant lines with some heat reflective foil. That is actually on its way. And I'm also going to wrap these. I'm not going to wrap these. I'm going to have them coated. And I might also wrap the downpipes because they are very close to the oil tank. But as you can see, I have gold foiled this oil tank. I have gold foiled the sides because those are also heat insulated, and there's a lot more room right here. You can see all the mechanism for the transmission. Here's the shifter linkage, and here are the lines for the transmission. This is actively cooled after all. Now what I have to do right now is I have to fill the engine with oil, but the engine doesn't actually have any oil filling provisions. It doesn't have any place we can fill the oil other than this oil tank, because this is a dry sump engine, and dry sump just means that it has an external oil tank that feeds through a pump, through a high pressure pump to the engine, and it starts that way. I am a little apprehensive about starting this engine essentially dry, even though I'm going to have a lot of oil in here, but I'm just going to fill this up with oil. Then I have actually filled up a little bit of coolant, but not enough that it's going to get the coolant to the front. So after I start, I'm going to have to do a little bit of a dance between filling up the oil and filling up the coolant, because this car is a little bit weird. When you fill up the oil, you have to first put in about 6.5 quarts and then run the engine about a minute until it warms up, and then you have to put another 4 quarts in there. But for the engine to heat up, I actually have to put enough coolant in there, and I don't have enough coolant in there as it stands because I have to have the water pump running. It has to run to the front. It has an electric pump that pumps the fluid, pumps the coolant from the back to the front to the 2 radiators, and then it comes back to the engine and comes back over there. So it is going to be a little bit of a dance, and hopefully the engine runs well. But before all this, and before I put on the intercooler, and I want to show you guys that, I want to do something that I haven't done in a very, very long time. Actually, I've never done it on this car, and it's about time. I'm talking, of course, about draining this car's fuel tank. Now, I probably should have done this the first day I got the car, but hindsight is 2020. We have a new fuel filler cap that Tony has welded up. It looks great. It is stainless steel and it has a little aluminum cap. Very, very cool. CNC'd, so it matches the precision styling of this car. But what I'm going to do now is I have to siphon out the gas that's in there. And the gas that's in there is 3-year-old congealed E85. So this car had let's say a half a tank of E85, and there are actually 2 tanks in this car, one on this side and one on that side, and there's a little tube that transfers between them. So I have to suck all that out with this fluid transfer pump that I got on Amazon. And this, I actually never used one of these before. I'm supposed to put this in here, and then I'm gonna put one of these ends in a gas tank, and hopefully I can start enough suction to start the flow into the gas tank, and that alleviates my problem. Then I can put some fresh gas in here, and then maybe we can start the car. But yeah, I've never done this before, and hopefully this doesn't take all night. Well, I learned something. I learned that if you have a transfer pump for fluid, it doesn't actually get all the way down into the gas tank of a Lamborghini. It also doesn't work if the gas tank is basically empty. I took out what I thought was a drain plug on the bottom of the gas tank. There's no actual drain plug. There's just a tube that ties the 2 tanks together, and I yanked that tube, and some gas came out, but it was basically like maybe half a gallon, something like that. I just collected it in a, it made a mess down there. It definitely made a mess. I made a mess on myself, but the gas tank should be pretty dry, and it took a lot longer than I thought. It's already nighttime, but I have 10 gallons of fresh 93 octane ready to go in this. So let's get that in, and then we can fill it up with oil, and then fingers crossed we can start it. All right, now that the car is full of oil, and well, not really full of oil, but enough to start it, and also enough to start it with coolant, I did put in some trans fluid before off camera. I am ready to put on the last piece of the puzzle. And the last piece of the puzzle is quite indeed large. So take a look at this. Now, you guys probably have seen this before, but this is the massive air-to-water intercooler that is going to go on the back of my car. And this is rated, well, technically up to 1,500 horsepower, or actually 2,000 horsepower, because this consists of two massive aluminum cores. Now this, actually it's quite heavy. Before I put it down, I want to show you what we did. So yesterday, we put in two ports, one on this side right here, and another one right on this side. We actually took a little while longer to weld this up because aluminum needs to be super duper clean when you're welding it. Stainless steel, you can get away with a lot of stuff. You can get away with some impurities in the metal, but with welding aluminum, it has to be 100%. What the weld does if the metal isn't 100% clean is it just doesn't stick. It doesn't stick to the metal, and you can't join those metal pieces together. So Tony and I were working late last night, and Tony also welded up these awesome block-off plates. So these block-off plates were basically because the old ports, they used to be on the bottom here. And with the new turbo setup, I definitely won't be needing those. So this should all work as intended. I am gonna spruce everything up with some paint and maybe an interesting color scheme, but I just wanna see if everything works. So I just have to bolt this up, and then I think we can do our preliminary testing to make sure that when I start this engine, it doesn't blow up into a million pieces and burn my house down. Okay, now that we got all this stuff buttoned up, and this is taking up a lot of space in the back, I got the intake tubes put in, and noticed that one of the couplers was broken. This is actually called a Pegasus clamshell clamp, and I'm gonna be ordering new ones of these, and, well, not blue ones, because blue doesn't match with anything. It's gonna be white, black, well, white, black, or gold. So I'm not sure which one that is, and I'm also gonna change all the color here, but this is gonna be the preliminary start. Check this out, everything is buttoned up. I got all the clamps on there, and we have our nice filters. That is out of the way of any hot exhaust air. Well, hot air from the engine bay. The intakes used to be right here, just bunched up, and they were in a really bad spot. So this is basically a cold air intake, and when I coat this, this is also going to be very well protected from the elements, and also very well protected from the intake right here. This is going to be really cool. So right now we're going to connect the battery, and the battery hasn't been connected for a long time, but I had it on the tender, so hopefully there's a little bit of charge. And let's see. Okay, something happened. So we're just going to tighten this guy down, and that should be nice and tight. And this wiring, actually I just need to take it out because it's for a relay for a pump that no longer exists in this space. So yeah, this is also for a battery tender, stuff I don't need. Let's see if the fuel pump primes. All right, lights on, that's good. It's been a while since I've been in here. All right. So I'm not gonna start it right now, I just wanna check the fuel system. All right. I hear the fuel pump priming. Are there any leaks? That seems to be all okay. That's okay. This is all good. This is fine. And we have some fuel pressure. I think it's time to start it. There goes nothing. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That feels good. All right, so it's still doing the rev thing where it doesn't rev past 2500. So we'll have to figure that one out. But what I want to know is, did my clutch fix itself, or did I fix my clutch? See, my clutch wouldn't allow me to shift into gear when the car was on, and I apparently fixed it, but I haven't actually tested this thing. That is loud. All right, clutch in. Can we put it into gear? Oh my God, it's in gear. Oh, we fixed it. We fixed the clutch. Oh, this is good. Guys, this is big. This is a major step into this build. We got this exhaust going, we got a new turbo kit, we got everything basically back to how it's supposed to be. I got new gas in there. I redid the entire fuel system. There's no leaks. There's no leaks at all. It doesn't smell bad or anything. I looked underneath the car and there's nothing down there. There's not even a drip. And I do have to put in some more coolant. I do have to put in some more oil, but I can't leave this car running that long because it's pretty late right now, and I don't want the neighbors to hear the sound of my Lamborghini's people. And also, it is bug season, and bugs come out at night, so anytime I open up the garage, about 1 billion bugs just fly into my garage. So I don't want that. I will be doing a troubleshooting episode maybe tomorrow. Maybe I will do a live stream. Maybe you guys can help me during troubleshooting and help me out with finding out why the car doesn't rev. This does have a standalone Cyvex S12 ECU in it. So there will be a little bit of troubleshooting there, but I can't wait to get started. Well, not to get started, to continue this build, because we are a little past getting started. That's gonna be it for today, and I am so excited. I'm back, and the Lamborghini is back, and hopefully it's gonna be running sometime soon and running with a lot of power. So if you'd like to contact me, you can do so at TheRealTavarish. That is Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. I've been reading all of you guys' emails. You send me a lot of emails about this channel, inspiring you to do work on your own car. And I hope you guys do work to your own car, because remember, well, this says I am the warranty, but you are the warranty. You are the warranty. And if you want to buy a shirt that says that, you can do so in the link in the description below. If you want to listen to me ramble about cars, about car culture and wrenching, I have a Wrench Everyday podcast. We have weekday episodes. That's going to be in the description below. But until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like this that are getting there and now have running engines and completely new exhausts, you guys need to wrench every day.